Coming up on Midco Motorsports, Huset Speedway celebrates another group of local racing legends. You'll hear from a couple of the track's newest Hall of Famers. Rock Rapids was the final stop of the season for the United States Modified Touring Series Northern Region. Find out which driver cashed in at Rapid Speedway. All that plus a look inside the next big thing in sprint car racing. We'll talk with Natalie Sather from the National Sprint League. The green flag drops now. And how is everybody doing? I'm Jay Elsen, and this is Midco Motorsports. Hall of Fame night is always one of the highlights of the summer at Huset Speedway, but this year's celebration was a little more emotional. That's because the class of 2015 would be the final group to be inducted before the track officially changes hands and becomes Badlands Motor Speedway. Here's a look at this year's honorees. You can find full bios for all of them on the Huset Speedway website. Kenny Hansen, Larry Molson, Roger Mulder, and Matt Richard were all highly successful drivers in their respective eras, while the late Millard Shorty Richmond made his mark as an engine builder. Here's what a couple of this year's inductees had to say about their enshrinement.
It means everything. Like I said, I've had a very short career here. I actually only raced Huset's 5 years, won the 3 championships. So for them to even consider me to be in the Huset's Hall of Fame here is amazing.
It just means everything. You know, we're just in awe of this whole place. It was that way when we first come here in the early 70s, and it's more exciting even tonight.
All right, let's go racing. The hobby stock started things off, and what a race this turned out to be. Jason Bradley started near the front for the second consecutive week and again emerged as the early leader. But just like he did the previous week, Bradley would give way to Jim Bartman. Lap 2, the 4-car sneaks past the 17J on the inside of turn 4. Bartman hoping to avoid a repeat of last week himself, and after holding on through several cautions, things were looking pretty good. But hold on, points leader Dustin Gulbranson making a big push late, and just as they hit the final turn, the 6-car gets the crowd on its feet. Gulbranson dives to the inside to steal the win away from Bartman. Here it is again. What a move and what a finish. That gives Gulbranson 3 for the year, which is tops in the division. It also creates a little more breathing room between him and Chad Coonert. Gulbranson's advantage now stands at 13 points. The street stocks picked up right where the hobbies left off. Lap 4, Zach Van Voorst is leading in the 56 machine, but he's got a whole bunch of company. Darren Cordles, Gary Brown Jr., and Craig Hanich all knocking on the door. Skip ahead to lap 7. That 4-man race has been whittled to 2. Van Voorst trying to hold off Cordles, but the man from Rock Rapids was just too much. He finally makes the pass as they come down the front stretch. And once he got into that clean air, no one was catching the 11K. Cordles snaps a 5-race winless streak with his first victory since June 14th. That helps him pull within 18 points of his good buddy and chief rival Gary Brown Jr., who finished 3rd. Zach Olivier picked up a top 5 finish as well and remains 3rd overall. The micro sprints were next. Action right away on lap 1. Good fight for first between the 51A of Elliot Amdahl and the 78 of Greg Gunderson. They nearly make contact in turn 2, but Amdahl able to pull ahead. Ironically, the car Amdahl was driving actually belongs to Gunderson. Greg loaned it to Elliott after he blew the engine in his own car on Friday. Gunderson may be rethinking that decision now. Amdahl holds him off the rest of the way and picks up his first career win at Huset's.
It hasn't really set in yet. My lifelong goal has always been to get a win here at Huset's, and it's extra special getting a win here before they call it Badlands, and just be able to put a trophy on my wall that says Huset's on it. So
finally we go to the Outlaws, and there would be another new face in victory lane at the end of this one. The 2L of Logan Forler had grabbed the early lead, but his strong start nearly gets spoiled on lap 4. Forler almost gets caught in the Jordan Martins Eric Schultz mess, but he escapes with no damage. That was big because after the restart, the 2L would pick up right where it left off. Clint Garner, who was filling in for Tim Kading on Sunday, would make a strong push late, but Forler kept his eyes on the prize. He, too, picks up his first win at Huset's.
360 stuff is kind of what I've been doing, and we're kind of switching over to the 410, and hopefully this picks up our momentum going into the next quite a few races coming up in this next month.
While Forler took the win, Dusty Zomer logged another top 5 finish, his 7th. He continues to lead the chase for Huset's 410 championship, but this one is far from over. Katie is just 6 points back. This year's JSTS Speedweek kicked off with a stop at Sioux Speedway. Highlights from the 6th annual Sprint Car Showdown are coming up next. And welcome back. While several tracks in our region feature sprint cars weekly, the July 15th show in Sioux Center marked just the 6th ever appearance for the Winged Warriors at Sioux Speedway. It also kicked off the annual JSTS Speedweek. Another great crowd on hand for the second and final event of the season at Sioux Speedway. The Hobby Stocks kicked things off. Dustin Gulbranson got out to the early lead, but keep an eye on the 17 of Trevor Holm. He completes the pass on lap 2 to move into 3rd, and he's back at it the next time around. This time he picks off the L82 of Logan Fitzpatrick to take over 2nd. And he didn't stop there. Holm completes his climb 3 laps later as he sneaks past Gulbranson on the inside. Good hard racing between those two for the next few laps, but Holm eventually creates some space and goes on to notch his first ever win in Sioux Center.
It's a fun track to come down. I come down for my sister in Epic Realty in town here, and I've been coming here for 10 years, I suppose, visiting her, watching the races, and it's awesome to finally get that first win here that I've been after for quite a few years.
The B-Mods took the track next, picking up on lap 2 as the 6 of Dustin Cruz and the 44 of Cameron Vanderweerd battle for the lead, and it's Vanderweerd who gains the edge as they head down the back chute. Cruz back for more on lap 5, but just as he's about to make the pass, the caution flag flies, so Vanderweerd stays out front for the restart. But the guy they really needed to look out for was Tim Rupp in the 33. Rupp moves to the outside as they go 3 wide down the front stretch, and he comes out of turn 2 as the new leader. Rupp not as fortunate later on. Another restart opened the door for Logan Scott. The 38 goes way down low to replace Rupp at the front of the pack. The 33 would try to answer on the final lap, but Scott slams the door. He holds off Rupp to take the checkered flag. Things would not be nearly as dramatic in the stock car feature. That's because Randy Brands was just too good. The 27 started on the pole, and it stayed there. No cautions meant no problems for Brands as he collects his 100th career feature victory.
That's pretty huge. When I started, I surely didn't think that I was ever going to get to that, but a lot of hard work and good people and good sponsors, and been a good ride. So
that brought us to the night's main event featuring those JSTS 360 sprints. Sioux Falls' Greg Baker got off to a great start and looked very strong for the first few circuits. But on lap 4, guess who enters the picture? It's the dude, Danny Lasowski. He gets by Baker for the lead as they head into turn 3. And the 1M kept the throttle wide open from there. Night 1 of JSTS Speedweek belonged to Danny Lasowski.
Well, we knew that we were going to have our hands full with Baker starting on the pole. When we were outside, he had the preferred spot, down in the grip to get going. He set a pretty good pace, and we knew we'd get to lap cars, we may be able to do something with him, and I slipped by him, and lo and behold, we won the race.
The Hobby Stocks got a little extra love in Rock Rapids on Friday. Rapid Speedway's special event paid $500 to win. The Sportsman's class had its special last week. Nick Brady won that, giving him 4 straight victories overall, and at least one guy looked like he'd had enough of that. That's Brian Clausen heading up the field in the 14K, and he would stay there for most of the feature. Brady not far behind him, though, after coming from 5th to win the heat race. He's making his way back toward the front again. 2 to go now. Clausen trying to hold him off, but he bobbles a bit in turn 4, and that gives Brady the lead. Clausen didn't quit, though. Last lap, the two are side by side as they reach the final turn. but Clausen wins the sprint to the finish. The 17-year-old from Little Rock edges Brady for his first career victory. So Brady's streak is history, but that had very little impact on the leaderboard. He's still in complete control, 56 points better than Leon Sneller. Clausen did manage to gain a little ground, but is still well off the pace in third. Here come those hobby stocks. 21 checked in to start the night. 19 would start the feature. Cole Gulbranson was one of them. The 40 car climbed from third to lead a few laps early on. But there's a couple of guys in this class that you always have to look out for, including Chad Lodeman. Look at the pass he pulls off here. Shoots past 3 cars to move into the runner-up spot. And he wasn't done. Next time around, Lodeman rides that same line past Gulbranson for the lead. Lodeman might have been done with that Gulbranson, but there was still one more out there. Points leader Dustin Gulbranson started on the outside of row 6, but he overtakes his younger brother here for second. From there, the 6 car started to zero in on the 17L. Gulbranson would catch Lodeman just a few laps later. He completes the 4th and final lead change of the night and goes on to capture his 2nd straight hobby stock feature in Rock Rapids.
Everybody ran the bottom, and it was pretty rough throughout the track, but the top seemed to be better, and the car worked good. $500, that's like 3 times what we normally get, so we'll definitely take it.
Moving on to the Beamonts, Madison, South Dakota's Nick Barger led the field to the green flag, but it would be a couple of Minnesotans that would settle this one. Ruthen's Cullen DeRuyter piloted the 7 car to the front, but he'd get all he could handle from Laverne's Trevor Crocht. Halfway through, the 52K makes its bid for the lead. DeRuyter, though, able to seal off that inside lane to stay in front. DeRuyter hangs on for what appeared to be his first win of the year, but it all went for naught. DeRuyter becomes the 2nd feature winner in as many weeks to be disqualified. That after track officials discovered oxidated fuel during his post-race inspection. So here's a look at your official top 5, led by Crocht, who inherits his first career feature win.
We set it up after the heat race the right way because it wasn't working right, and then my dad did something to the car and made it way faster.
The final race of the night featured the USRA stock cars. Wednesday's Sioux Speedway winner Randy Brands had a game plan for this one. He wanted to get to the front right away, and that's exactly what he did. Brands moves to 27 from 4th to 1st by the start of lap 2. It was smooth sailing from there. He leads 14 of the 15 laps to cap off a solid week.
Kind of went back to what we were doing at the beginning of the year. We were trying some stuff, and we just finally decided we probably should give up on that and go back to what we were doing.
Racing returned to Rock Rapids on Tuesday night with the season finale for the USMTS Northern Region. We'll recap that when we come back. Rapid Speedway has become an annual stop for the United States Modified Touring Series Northern Region. Tuesday, the circuit made it 6 straight years as it returned to Rock Rapids for the 10th and final race of its 2015 schedule. Points leader Rodney Sanders hoping to finish strong at Rocky. He'd have to wait his turn, though, because this guy right here was in the spotlight first. Elijah Zievenbergen looking to complete the Ironman sweep in the USRA stock car class. Zievenbergen started 3rd for this one, but it wouldn't take him long to get to the front. He gets by Justin Regneris just as he completes the first circuit. Regneris would get him back on a late restart. He finds his way around the 66C to regain the lead. Zievenbergen didn't let it rattle him. He sticks to that inside line, and it works. Regneris can't hold him off, and Zievenbergen wins for the 3rd time in 4 trips to Rock Rapids.
Confidence is a big thing in this sport. So when you got confidence, it's real nice. You can go in that corner knowing your car's going to stick. You can drive it in deeper, and it really helps.
Moving on to the main event, 35 laps for the USMTS Modifieds. Sanders would have his work cut out for him as he starts 16th. Good battle early between the 07 of Corey Krapser and the 7X of pole setter Jesse Glens. Ultimately, it's Krapser that settles into the top spot. Fast forward a few laps, Krapser getting into lap traffic. That allows Glens to make a bid for the lead, but Krapser manages to slam the door. He'd get another challenge with 7 to go. Here comes the 99 of Jesse Sabe. He gets past Krapser on the inside and even gets credit for leading the lap. But Krapser decided 1 was enough. The Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin native gets back in front the next time by. goes on to claim his first ever USMTS feature victory.
We've been doing really well probably the past 3 weeks. Haven't had a win yet, even a local weekly deal, so to be our first win this year's USMTS show. I mean, if I won one of these ever in my life, I'd be happy, and so I'm happy we got one already.
With the win, Crapser locks up 8th place in the final Northern Region standings. But the real story was Sanders. The Texan climbed from 16th to finish 4th on Tuesday, his 9th top 5 finish in 10 races. Sanders runs away with the title, finishing 147 points ahead of Dan Ebert. After a rainout the week before, Knoxville Raceway was back in action on Saturday. We pick it up with the 360A main. Billy Alley opens up a huge lead off the start. His fellow front row starter Dakota Hendrickson settles into second. The 5H would continue to fall off the pace. Justin Henderson gets by him on lap 6. Then on lap 9, it's Ian Madsen's turn. He passes Hendrickson for third. Back up front, Alley kept on cruising. He built as much as a 3-second lead on the field before a couple of lap 15 restarts brought him back to the pack, but he never lost the lead. Alley holds off Henderson and collects his second Knoxville win of the season. It was double the fun in the 410 class, twin feature night. Pole setter Justin Henderson gave her a little too much gas off the start, and it cost him. Points leader Danny Lasowski replaces Henderson at the front. He wouldn't stay there for long, though. Lap 3, second row outside starter Brian Brown overtakes his uncle for the lead. Good battle behind them. Henderson and Tim Kading swap third place a couple of times over a 5-lap period before Kading finally gains the edge. Fast forward to lap 19. Kading uses the high side to take second from Lasowski, and 1 lap later he goes under Brown for the lead. Kading goes on to take the checkered flag, but the celebration would be short-lived. Kading was disqualified for an out-of-date muffler, so the win instead goes to Brown. It's his first of the year at Knoxville. Lasowski was second, with Justin Henderson moving up to third. The top 16 cars from that one would be inverted for the night's second 410 feature. Pole setter Dustin Selvage pulled a wheelie at the start just like Henderson, but he manages to reclaim the top spot before the end of lap 1. Lap 6 now. Third row outside starter Dusty Zomer starts his march to the front. He goes low to get by Logan Forler for third. 5 circuits later, Zomer uses the middle of the track to get by Dakota Hendrickson for second. And on the next go-around, he takes the top spot away from Selvage. And it was all 82 from there. Zomer returns to victory lane at Knoxville for the first time since 2011.
It's been a long time since 410 here, a win here, so super happy for the team. Can't thank Todd and Susan LaHaye for giving me the opportunity to drive this thing. Greg McCormick, the crew chief, this is awesome. You know, we've been so close lately, and it's nice to bring home a trophy.
Danny Lasowski did not manage to win either feature on Saturday, but 2 podium finishes was enough to extend his points lead over Justin Henderson. Terry McCarl, Ian Madsen, and Davey Heskin round out the top 5. Zomer, Lasowski, McCarl, and Madsen, just a few of the big names from our region that have found a home in the National Sprint League. We'll take you inside the first-year series when Midco Motorsports rolls on. And welcome back. Well, when Todd Quiring founded the National Sprint League, his goal was to grow 410 sprint car racing in the Midwest. And just over 3 months into the series' inaugural campaign, it seems like the seeds of that dream are starting to sprout. Drivers are jumping at the chance to compete for a piece of the NSL's $350,000 point fund, and fans seem to be enjoying the extra opportunities to see the region's top talent in action. Rod Pattison has more on sprint car racing's next big thing in this week's Inside Track.
It's the inaugural season of the NSL, and as they crisscross the Midwest, we catch up with the marketing director of the National Sprint League, Natalie Sather. Natalie, thanks for the time.
Yes, thank you guys for having us tonight, and we're excited for you guys to be here at Badlands Speedway.
I know the rain has taken its toll on a lot of racing around the upper Midwest here with you guys also, but here we are in July. How are things going as far as the expectations at this point?
Things are going great. Like you said, the rain has been really hard, and we were supposed to race here earlier this season, and that got canceled, unfortunately. So it's great to be back and see all the fans that have come out, and it's just been absolutely incredible to see how this NSL has developed from starting it this winter to now being here racing. It's kind of actually a little bit emotional how much hard work we put into it and seeing everybody walking through the gates and getting their tickets and everything.
It's founder Todd Quering. I mean, what a great story he is. Big Game Tree Stands, he starts off his marketing with some regional drivers and takes it to a national level, buys Jackson Speedway, founds the NSL. It has to be exciting to be able to work with and for a guy like that.
Having Todd as a boss has just been absolutely phenomenal. The passion he has for racing is, par to none. I mean, his excitement and calling me and wanting to do different things and then buying Jackson Speedway, and then I've helped out with that a little bit, and seeing what he's done with the NSL and all the heart and soul he puts into it. To have an owner of a series like that means a lot to me, and it means a lot to the drivers. I think that he's really hands-on and he cares about what's going on in the racing community, and he wants to make racing as a whole better. And for him to A, sponsor cars, and B, now come up with a series and now be a track owner, it really proves his love for the sport of racing.
I know you got into the racing deal as a driver up in North Dakota. How has that experience and just being around racing and different levels and things, how's that help you become a better marketing director?
Well, actually, it's kind of a funny story. So when I heard Todd was doing this, I messaged him and asked him, if he had anything available for me. And he asked me 2 questions. I said no and no. He's like, okay, you're hired. And I go, what? And he goes, but I want you to be something different. I want you to be the marketing director. I know you've never done anything like that, but your experience, as a driver, marketing yourself, and everything that you've learned from growing up in racing and the connections that you have and the personal relationships you have with people in racing, I think is really going to help you. And that has come back to actually honestly help me. And personally knowing these drivers and raced against them, I know what's going on, especially when I go to interview them. And having known a lot of these companies that work with racing and are involved with racing, it makes it a lot easier for me to be able to call up somebody and talk to them. And then I kind of have a credibility because I know what I'm talking about as far as when it comes to racing. I'm just not somebody that just, signed on with this organization and isn't familiar with the sport.
Right. Been a lot of talk about the 360 ranks, obviously, at the local tracks. Some are keeping them, some are dropping the thing. The NSL is actually investing in and starting the 360 League next year.
Yes, it's been in discussion for a couple months, and we had a meeting about a week ago, and we talked about it again, and it's something that we've decided to start for surely around the Midwest, and we're kind of still in the works as to where we're going to go, who we're going to go race with, and I've had drivers, track owners, tons of different people calling me, asking me what's going on, and really what you've read is basically about all we know right now. And once we know more, we'll be releasing, more press releases throughout the summer and letting everybody know when we're going and where we're going.
Expanding the 360 ranks obviously is the short-term goal. What's the long-term vision of the NSL? Is it trying to be similar to the All-Stars out in Ohio and Indiana? Is it trying to be the next World of Outlaws? What's the long-range goal of the NSL?
Right now we're just focusing on this year and next year, and right now we just kind of want to stay in the Midwest. When we started this out, our goal was to be able to have Knoxville as our home track and allow these drivers to still compete weekly at Knoxville and not have to go very far from home, kind of like more for the working man, that they can work during the week and race on the weekends. And we do have a few races during the week, but we've tried to not compete with any other series and be very respectful of everybody else and make this like a big group effort with the World of Outlaws, the All-Stars, and everybody else involved in racing.
Any plans of maybe doing some co-sanctioning?
We've talked about it. We have a few races that are co-sanctioned this year with the MOA, and next year we're gonna, if we can, expand out maybe a little bit and maybe do something with a few other series. So we'll see. Following on Facebook, Twitter, those types of things. Tell us how we can do that. You can follow us on Twitter, which is at NSL Series. You can follow us on Facebook, which is the National Sprint League. And we also do periscoping, which is through my periscoping, which is at Speed Sather. And you can follow Speed Sather for updates and results. And I have 2 young girls that work very hard that are actually back there in the merchandise trailer, and they do incredible updates along with myself and Bill Wright. And we try to keep the fans updated with everything that's going on in the series. Awesome. We appreciate the time. Continued success in the NSL. Yes, thank you guys very much for having us. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Rod. Well, if you haven't gotten a chance to catch a National Sprint League event, there's still plenty of time. Here's a look at some of the stops in the remaining schedule, including 2 each at Huset and Jackson. Additionally, if you're planning a trip to the Knoxville Nationals, you might want to consider adding Oskaloosa to your itinerary on Monday, August 10th. The NSL has a big money event slated for that night at Southern Iowa Speedway. That's going to pay $20,000 to win. All right, well, we have reached the white flag. We'll wrap things up with a look at your weekend schedule next. Here's a look at your Midco Motorsports calendar for the weekend ahead. Enjoy the races, everyone. We'll see you back here next week.